Flag First Draft. Presented by ABC Action News and the Tampa Bay Times continues.
All right, welcome back here to the Plank First Draft. I'm Tom Korun, along with Matt Baker, Tom Jones, Rick Stroud, and Greg Auman from the Tampa Bay Times. Guys, we have some questions for the folks that are watching this evening. One of the questions is it possible that the Buccaneers might consider trading their pick for Phillip Rivers? There's been a lot of talk about perhaps Tennessee making that move. But what about the Bucs? What about those Bucs?
I think it's very unlikely. I think you hear it about Tennessee. Ken Whisenhunt has a history with Phillip Rivers. I think Phillip Rivers is from that area in Alabama. He's lived in the Southeast, so it'd be coming home for him. He doesn't want to move to L.A. with his kids. I don't think it makes sense for the Bucs. Phillip Rivers is 33 years old. He's got 1 year left on a contract. They'd have to make a significant financial commitment to him at the end of his career and do that at the expense of investing in a young player like
That would
Winston.
be a max contract, I would think.
Well, it'd be a lot. I think you have to look at where your team is. I'm not that familiar with Tennessee, but I know Ken Whisenhunt took a veteran quarterback in Arizona and went to a Super Bowl. I don't think the Bucs are anywhere where Phillip Rivers, by the time, he has maybe 3-4 years left in his prime, but you're going to need that time just to get your football team good. And so for the Bucs, I don't think it makes sense. You have to listen to it, right? But it would be Phillip Rivers and what else?
Right.
Because you look at these trades for teams to get the number one. You're paying a lot of draft.
I also don't know at what point Phillip Rivers became like Johnny Unitas. Like
he's a top 10 quarterback.
Rick and I had a big argument on the radio one day, and I said I can name 12 guys in the NFL right now that are better than.
You got 5 elites, and then you got 5 other guys. He's one of the 5 other guys.
I don't think he's even one of the 5. I think he's in the group after that. No, who wants? If I had a choice right now between Phillip Rivers and Jameis Winston, or both of them, I wouldn't want Phillip Rivers because I want Jameis Winston to play. I'd play Jameis Winston.
Well, Phillip Rivers wasn't 30-something. I'd probably want him.
Exactly.
But that's part of it.
But he is.
Let's move past the first pick. What do the Buccaneers do here? Obviously, they got a lot of needs. What's the most important need? Do they draft the best player available? Which, to me, it seems like needs is going to fit in just about anything. Will be the best player available.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
They have a lot of needs, but to me, the fact that they haven't addressed their offensive line in free agency means that's their most pressing need and probably what they're most likely to do at number 34. I think this is a good draft with a deep number of linemen that they might have first-round grades on. Whether they feel the need to trade up late into the first round or whether they just take whatever falls 34. I think that's the position you have to start at for any conversation, and then they'll go from there.
What's the line from the blind side where once you buy your house, the first thing you do is get the insurance? You're buying a $25 million home, whether it's Hawaiian or from Alabama, so you gotta get the insurance.
Quoting Sandra Bullock, is that our philosophy?
I think. Look,
it's a good book too.
This is a 2-14 football team, as Greg just mentioned. They need help everywhere. I think you take the best player available, the highest player on your board, unless that player happens to be a wide receiver, because you're set at wide receiver. I don't know that I'd go tight end. I don't know that I'd go running back. But anything after that, beyond that, if you have a linebacker rated the highest, or a cornerback, or a safety, or whatever, or an offensive line, whoever it is, I take the highest grade because you need everything.
You always go with value, Tom. It's always, it starts with the quarterback as the highest valued player. Then you go to offense or pass rusher, and that's what the Bucs don't have. So I don't know if it'll be offensive line in the second round or at the next pick, whenever that is, and then defensive end. It's just, but one of those two, I think they always say I want the best player available, but it's really what they're saying is the best player available at my biggest need. Those are their 2 biggest needs: offensive lineman and then a pass rusher.
Don't you get yourself in trouble though if you start drafting for your needs versus the best?
You can
player?
if you reach.
Well, they've been doing it.
Well,
they've been known to do it.
Well, he's right. I mean, if you have a guy that if you're picking whatever, 31st, I guess is their next pick?
34th, yeah.
And the guy on your list is you need a pass rusher, but he's actually like 60th on your list, and you're reaching, then that's when
then
you're
get
in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Matt McGuire asked, does the fact that Winston has a built-in fan base in the area with obviously FSU fans factor into the Buccaneers' decision?
I would hope it wouldn't.
I think so.
Because, you've got a large pocket of FSU fans here. You also have a large pocket of Florida fans here who aren't going to like that, and some Miami fans mixed in. So I would hope they're not thinking about
You
that.
hope so, and Matt brings up a good point. Rick and I have talked about it on the show too. That I'm sure a lot of Florida fans didn't like it when they took Derek Brooks or Warwick Dunn.
That's right.
They got used to that
used
real
to
quick.
it,
Yeah.
Florida State didn't like Miami with Warren Sapp, and that turned out okay.
And a lot of fans in the Bay Area that really like winning too. So I think if you can get that with
That's
that
what
first pick,
sells.
that's what'll change the
But
attendance.
I do believe that there are a segment of people out here who are Florida Gator fans, who don't want Jameis Winston. They've already been predisposed not to like the guy to begin
I
with.
tell you what, I think that they're the same type of people that you have up there in Alabama between Bessemer and Hueytown. Or what's that, Hueytown? Right?
Hueytown, yeah.
I mean, let's face it, you can't, no matter what you say to them, they're just going to
Their minds are made up.
Their minds are made up.
Exactly.
What about the fact of the Buccaneers, perhaps, after they make that first overall pick, they actually move up?
Into the back
Back,
end of the
Back in the first
into the
round?
first round.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen because we'll be on deadline. But
That will
aside
not
from
be
that,
pretty.
yeah, it's entirely possible. Sure. I mean, if there's a player that falls down to you and it's within a few picks, again, it's all about what are you giving up. I would think that Jason Light and Lovie Smith want to maximize their draft picks. What wouldn't surprise me is if they move down in the second round because they're already picking second. And if you could acquire a few more things, if a lot of those players get pushed down and say there's 5 offensive linemen still sitting at you and you move down a few spots, somebody may go up for a running back, somebody may go up for a wide receiver. So those are the conversations you have.
Well, they're actually talking about a couple of running backs going in the first round,
Yeah.
which will be new, which will take 2 away that the Buccaneers don't really need at this point in time.
Well-
They do, but they're not.
They're not sold on the guys they got, I can tell you that.
Well, I could, sure.
But, yeah,
If they
shocking.
were to take a running back,
Oh,
what do you got?
I say, I think
Gurley's
They're
going
not
to be
going
gone.
to get Gurley
so
or Gordon.
Gurley's going to be gone.
I think they'll both be gone.
Yeah, probably.
Those should be the 2 that go in the first
Yeah,
round.
beyond that, Tom, you never drafted a running back.
I would never draft a running back ever at any point in the draft. I would think. I think
free agents?
I think
They're all
you could
Adrian
I
Foster,
think you
right?
could, they're all Willie Parker types. You could get a running back anywhere. I think they're dime a dozen. I really do. And I think I would never take a safety high in the draft. We saw what happened with the Bucs with Mark Barron. There are certain positions. I think, to me, the closer you get to the football, the more valuable a player is. I'm talking quarterback, offensive line, defensive line. Then you start working your way out from there. And I think the further away you get from the ball,
I know
the less
those corners are pretty.
quarterbacks are pretty.
Corners are pretty.
Corners are a big deal, but
big deal.
wide receiver, running back, safety. The further you get away, the less interested I am of wasting a high draft pick on those guys.
Yeah.
But
well,
if you don't draft a first-round receiver, then you don't get the Des Bryant types either.
Yeah, there
so
you go.
come on.
Well, they got their Mike Evans,
Exactly.
Correct. And he was a first-round pick, if I'm not mistaken, right?
6th overall.
I know the last thing that we had, once again, it was 51-41 in favor of Mariota on our poll right now, and we should have
Well,
an
that's
update
it,
coming
then.
up here. Yeah, I mean,
Can we call it? Are we ready to call it?
did the Bucs take that into account? Heck no.
No, but I will be interested to see what the reaction is come Thursday night. They're taking Jameis Winston. How are Bucs fans? Because we've heard from a lot of Bucs fans say, "I will never root for this team
Gonna
again."
be a polarizing
And I'm sure
pick.
you've heard about them too, man.
Don't you think? I think it won't be 100%.
No.
Maybe
no.
the zealots at the draft party will be screaming,
This isn't the Colts picking up Andrew Luck. This is a guy that a lot of people don't want on their organization.
I'm trying to get the update on the poll. What was that? What is it? Winston leads.
There you
Well,
go.
that's just because we've told everybody everything we know about Jameis.
They were.
68%.
You know what happened? I convinced everybody that you don't want a guy who plays a spread option offense
Yeah.
to come to the NFL. I think
But Drew
I'll take it.
Brees.
Polls are
didn't
still
pass
open.
All right, guys, I guess let's resign ourselves to the fact the Buccaneers are going to take Winston. Is he going to be successful?
I think he is. I think he's going to be a heck of a quarterback. I think he's going to do something, Rick, that we haven't seen in a long time. He's going to get to a second contract with this organization.
That's what's never happened. I think it'll depend on whether Lovie Smith and Jason Light can stay in this organization, keep drafting players, and get better. If they change systems, if they change coaches, he's not going to succeed.
I think if nothing else, he makes this team and this franchise relevant. The game one
He already
against the
has. He's not even here, and he already has.
Absolutely. Since the Super Bowl ended, all the national media has been talking about the Bucs and what they're going to do, and that's going to continue, I think, all the way until Week 1 against the Titans against Mariota.
How about you, Greg?
Yeah, if he gets to that second contract, that's something no Bucs quarterback has ever done. That's probably the ultimate success. That's a home run if they can get to that.
I think he does. Although I'm also
So we're talking-
I'm also the guy that said Josh Freeman should get $100 million.
No, exactly.
Right.
So
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
be talking, 2020, right?
That's right.
It's a five-year deal?
5-year deal after he's already led him to the playoffs 3 times.
2020, huh?
Wow.
I don't know. That's
more
a
confident.
long time between.
What do you
Is
think? You
there
think he's going to
Kool-Aid in
be?
here?
You think he's going to be a good an NFL? Yeah, it seems to me like you have doubts about him.
I do, and I'm sorry I do. I have doubts about his ability too. I have doubts what I saw in the last part of the season.
The interceptions bothered you?
You're not alone.
I had my doubts there because he was surrounded by incredible talent in 2013 that nobody could match in that conference or non-conference or any time. He got matched up, and then he was exposed. I think Winston freaked out. I think in some of those games he freaked out on those interceptions. He was trying to. Fine, he's a gunslinger. So is Brett Favre, and I'd love to have Brett Favre, but I'm just not convinced. I'm not convinced on either one of them. And this is what I would do, and you guys would tell me to.
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to say.
No.
Trade a pick.
Trade the pick.
Trade a pick and get
But
him.
you got to give me. You got to
Who's your
give
quarterback?
me. You got to give me. I'll find another one.
They just
Yeah,
brought
fine.
trees.
Easy, man.
You know, it's only been
But
like
if I can
30
get,
something
listen,
years they haven't
I look
found
at
it.
it. If I'm the owner, this is how I look at it. If I'm the owner, and I'm the one that's going to have those picks are mine. They're not my coach's picks. They're my picks. All right. I'm the one that's still going to own this team. They may not be around.
Right.
All right. So I want to protect the balance of my football franchise. And if some knucklehead down there wants to give me 4 first-round picks, I'm taking that serious. I'm very serious.
My thing with that though, Tom, is that you have never had really, truly have never had a franchise quarterback. You desperately need one right now.
They don't
because
grow on trees.
I don't think you can win. You can't win the NFL without one. You look at the teams that made the playoffs; they all have franchise quarterbacks.
And for predominantly their
And-
first or second round.
right?
First or second pick.
First or second round picks. That's right.
Second picks.
And, Right, and the 2 best players in this draft are quarterbacks. I
You don't think Leonard Williams is better than Mariota? USC?
No. I think your 2 best players are Winston and Mariota, and I would rather have Winston and Mariota. But if you take Mariota, I don't have an issue with that either. But I just think it's so rare that you're in this position.
Ask Bill O'Brien, who is Bill O'Brien, right? At the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
How much he would have loved to have had this decision, as opposed to taking Jadeveon Clowney, who I still think is going to be a great player, but he's a defensive end. They still managed to win 9 games with 4 different quarterbacks, but it's just 9 games. To be elite, you have to have the quarterback.
The reason why I bring this up, and we're about ready to wrap this up, is if the Buccaneers are waiting until the last minute just to see if there is somebody out there that's willing to give it, then I'm not as nuts as I think.
No, you got to be open to it, Tom. You got to be open to it.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. Will it be Jameis Winston? Will it be Marcus Mariota? Will they trade the picks? It's going to be Mariota.
Might be the smart one at the end of the day.
I'm not quite sure about that, but I know what I at least make my coach and GM aware of. Listen, guys, thanks a lot, folks. Matt Baker, Tom Jones, Rick Stroud, and Greg Auman from the Tampa Bay Times. I'm Tom Korun. I hope you enjoyed everything that we were able to bring to you tonight with some clarity, and we'll have more live coverage on the draft next Thursday night right here on abcactionnews.com and online and on ABC Action News mobile app. So for all the guys here, good night, everybody, and enjoy your weekend.